It is time for our first drive in the 2019 Ford Raptor, baby. It is time, it is time, it is time. Let's put on our seatbelt, start this thing up, and show you guys why I'm very excited about this new vehicle. Now, there's a lot of different things about it that I like, and some things I don't like, but let's just go ahead and take it for a spin, show you guys what it feels like. We do have a bunch of different modes here. We can switch between normal, sport, all these other different Baja modes and whatnot. Keep it right in normal mode for now, and we'll be good to go. Take it for a spin. We got the nice carbon fiber shifter. Let's put that baby into drive and see how she rips. Right off the bat, just go ahead and give her just a tiny bit of a rip just so you guys can feel what that's like. But it drives pretty darn smooth, I'm not gonna lie to you. Eats the bumps, of course. I mean, it's a Ford Raptor with Raptor suspension, right? You got Fox shocks in the front and the back, so it drives really, really nice. And of course, you also get the aspect of a twin turbo V6, so you can hear it spool up just a little bit. I don't know if the GoPro will even capture it, to be honest. Hopefully it does, but who knows at this point if it's gonna get picked up. But we're gonna go ahead and just take it for a spin down maybe a couple back roads, hop on the main road, give it a few rips, show you guys what it sounds like, what it feels like, and put you in the driver's seat here of this 2019 Ford Raptor. Now, right now I'm just driving it, like I said, in normal mode with automatic shifting, just taking it through this little back road. Once we get out there, I'll show you guys what the paddles look like and feel like. They click pretty well. They don't give me as much feedback or click as I like, almost like it's just a little bit plasticky kind of in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but again, not super worried about that. I like how it drives, and when you compare it to like an SRT, obviously it doesn't have the V8 and doesn't have that instant loud gratification that you get. But I will say that for being a bigger truck, it does give you, a lot of the same power that you're kind of looking for out of a sports vehicle, which is nice. Like I said, all the time, I'm like, I need an SUV, I need a truck. I'm up here in Rhode Island where, it snows, it gets real cold. It's like, it's just not practical for me to have something like, a Charger or Scat Pack or a Hellcat or anything like I used to have. Which that's why I got rid of it right away. And the intention is still to get something like that in the future. Maybe it's a Charger, maybe it's, a Challenger. Maybe I even switch up and get something that's completely different. You hear it kick in a little bit there. There's not a ton of turbo noise in this thing. Still has the stock exhaust, stock muffler, resonators, all that good stuff. So there's definitely a lot of room for me to go ahead and switch things up. And like I said, that will be coming in the future, so do not worry about it. I promise I'm gonna have some really cool stuff on the way. But for now, like I said, this is just a bone stock Raptor, and this is what it drives like when it's got 82,000 miles on it. Now, could it be better? Of course. I mean, it's running the stock KO2s. They've been on there for, I would assume, a while. They're not like, there's a couple of them that are a little bit more bare than I would like. So they definitely need a little bit of a change. But the big thing that I notice when I'm driving a truck like this, or this truck specifically, is I feel like I'm going a lot slower than I'm actually going, right? Like on the speedometer it says 50. I don't feel like I'm going 50, right? I feel like I'm going probably, 30, 35, maybe 40 on a good day. It doesn't really ever give me the feeling that I'm like going super fast or anything crazy.
Meanwhile,
see if we can make this turn here. Put it in manual mode here, give it a little downshifts. It shifts pretty hard when you rip it like that, I'm not gonna lie. I do think the transmissions on these, I don't know if they're just like that, or if it's just how, like how they are, or what. Like, I'm just in normal mode, I'm not even in sport mode. I mean, I can go ahead and switch it here to sport mode and see how it feels. Maybe it'll feel a little bit better, but you can hear it there. It definitely gets up and goes a little bit better when you do it that way. I'm gonna go ahead and pop back into automatic here. But the sport mode, it gets a little bit more noise out of it, I would say. I don't know if it's just, the way that I'm flooring it a little bit more or what, But for a truck, it gets up and goes. For a V6, it gets up and goes. I'm really curious when you put this side by side with an RHO. I might have to go do a test drive of an RHO after I drive this one around for a while, and just kind of see what's going on, because I'm really curious. You know, I've always been a Mopar guy. Mopars tend to be my sweet spot, right? We start with the Jeep, and then the Charger, and then the SRT, and that's just kind of where I've always been. So I'm really curious to see when you put this head to head with the Hurricane V6 and you have that twin turbo engine from Mopar, how does that stack up to the Raptor, right? The Raptor's been first, and you know, a lot of people have made videos on it and talked about it, but I'm just curious firsthand from my side, how does it actually drive and how does it feel? Because to me, I think this drives pretty well, right? When you compare this, obviously, if you would have had a newer one, you'd buy a Gen 3 with lower miles, so it's gonna feel a lot smoother than this one. You know, it's been around the block, maybe passed around a little bit. But it drives really, really well. Like I said, the transmission, it's supposed to be like a learning transmission or something, so maybe I have to reset that and, you know, see. Gonna go ahead and slap factory warranties out the wazoo on this thing, just in case, because you know me, I don't trust too much about things, especially when it's higher miles. I always go for the low mile vehicles just because, you know, I don't want to have to worry about it, especially if it's like this, where this is my daily driver now. So you know, we're gonna see what's gonna happen, I guess. Like I said, hopefully nothing happens, knock on wood if there was some wood in this vehicle, but well, I guess, you know, we're really just gonna have to wait and see at that point. Now, when we talk about like tire noise on these KO2s, I'm gonna make a whole video down the line about them, just to kind of, you know, give the runaround, my opinion on these, because they've been obviously on here for a bit. Like I said, the rear right one, I think it has like, let's see if I can find it in the menus here while I'm driving. Yeah, you can see all the other tires are at 41. That one's a little bit lower at 35, so I do need to pop some air up in that bad boy. But it's totally possible that that one has like a slow leak. It's pretty like bald, I guess. Like it's not so bad, but it is a little bit more bald than I'd like. But like I said, this thing is fun to drive. It's big, it's beefy. I feel like I could take it anywhere. And like I said, in every video that I've talked about these so far, the kind of like mod ability of these, there is like infinite mods that you're able to do on these. So that's what I'm really, really excited about. You guys know I like to really customize things and make them mine, and I've never had a turbo platform, so this kind of felt like the best of both worlds. Obviously I could have went RHO, but RHOs, like, there's none used. If you wanted to find one, you have to buy one basically brand new, and it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. It's, you know what I mean, they're just, to me, it wouldn't be worth it for the content on the channel that I don't even know if it's going to perform, right? With the Raptor here, like, I'm kind of taking a little bit of a risk, but it's not as like steep or as deep of a risk, so I'm not as concerned, you know, doing it, because like I said, even if I get some fun content out of it, then, you know, hopefully it all works out. But let's go ahead and rip it a little bit here down this stretch in some leaves. Definitely hear the turbo a little bit more there, and you see how it just eats these bumps, right? These are just obviously little like potholes and just standard road bumps here in Rhode Island. I'm sure you have them where you're at too, but it really does, it handles them all super well. And it's a nice ride. Like, it's enjoyable to just ride around in. We're gonna take it off-road. I already know people are saying that that's gonna be real nice for me to take to the mall, but I'm telling you right now, we are going to be doing some off-roading here shortly throughout the fall into the winter. Maybe I throw some new tires on it and we can take it out during the snow and really have some fun with it. So expect a lot of different content than you're used to, but I promise a lot of content. Keyword a lot. But it drives awesome, and you see, you just driving through a neighborhood here. It doesn't feel massive either for a truck, which is awesome, so I'm totally stoked on that. But let me know down in the comment section down below what you guys think. And of course, if you guys are on board with the F-150 Raptor content that's going to be coming your way, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, to be notified when all these new videos start popping up and going live. Of course, like the video if you haven't already. It does help the channel out and help it grow. Also, make sure you hype after you like it, which also pushes the content to even more people. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Got one life, I'm trying to live my shit, minding my business as usual. I don't want nothing to do with the outside. How about the whip with a beautiful bitch? I've been too busy thinking about mine. Don't care what you be doing, I've been too busy thinking about mine. Back then shit was too bad, I was on the wrong path going too fast. Used to let the plug house holding too